Hey beautiful, my name is Kayla Hodges, and today I'm going to show you how to transform the way that you sell forever. And that is through emotional resiliency. And baby girl, I completely get it. I understand that as a woman, sometimes it is hard. You go through things that other people just would not imagine, like the pressure and the rejection and being overlooked, having that imposter syndrome. It is simply not fair. However, it is our responsibility to know how to handle some of these things so that we show up as the most powerful version of ourselves.
I acknowledge you for being a powerful woman. I acknowledge you for being selfless and being there for your little ones.
Her support of her and her team have truly been next level.
Build genuine rapport, get a real problem and a solution out of them. I learned to slow down in my own personal life, to just not be so anxious and worked up.
After learning her methodology and applying it, I have been able to take full control of the conversation in the DMs. I'm not chasing people down constantly anymore.
4 months into Kayla's community and being in her program, I feel like I've grown tremendously in both the sales world and my inner world.
After working with Kayla and joining the program, I feel like I have a better understanding of the fundamentals of sales and really learning how to build the gap for my prospects.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. 'Cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me.
From myself personally, I have literally started from the bottom. I was an IHOP waitress. I was a pregnant teenager. I went through horrific abuse in my life, as well as being married to a really, really violent alcoholic. Went through like so many freaking things that you can imagine. In fact, if you want to hear my story, that is on one of my podcast episodes, Closing Deals and Heels. I'm more than welcome to go through that. That's not the point. The point is that the cards were never dealt in my favor, ever. And being in a place where I learned how to go through B2B sales, B2C sales, event sales, outbound sales, like so many different roller coasters of journeys, I have learned that sometimes you are overlooked as a woman. Sometimes people really don't think that you're that smart. Sometimes you do have to prove yourself, and sometimes numbers speak louder than words. I'm going to show you how to put numbers up on the board without burning out and killing yourself. Resiliency, babe, is your superpower. First of all, you have been able to overcome every single bad day that you have ever gone through, which would mean that you would have to be strong. And sometimes we have stories that we tell ourselves that are simply not the truth. I want you to write this down. This is really important. If something is true, it must always be true. It cannot sometimes be true. That would mean that it's not the truth. If something is true, it must always be true. And so if you're asking yourself questions, or if you're being mean to yourself, if you're saying things, oh, I can't do it, I'm incapable, oh my gosh, I suck, oh my gosh, like I'll never be able to figure this out, like those are simply opinions, and they're simply stories that don't really work. So we're going to remove some of those stories, and we are going to help you have some of the tools that are necessary so that when shit hits the fan, when you get in a fight with your man, when one of your kids are sick, whatever is going on in your personal life, it does not affect you in a way to where it will ruin you in your work life. I'm going to show you how to bounce back faster and stronger than you ever before. So what you will learn in this training is a few mindset shifts, some emotional strength tools, and some sales strategies that will work for you as a woman in your industry, regardless of what you sell. If you do B2B, B2C, door-to-door, B2G. Now, here's the reality. And you write notes as we go. The first thing is that there is an emotional roller coaster of sales. Women in sales, the reality is that you have highs, you have lows, you got everything in between. And women face different challenges than men. So here are a few of the challenges that women face that kind of suck. Let me share my screen with you. First of all, being told to be more aggressive, and then you're labeled as too pushy, or handling unwanted advances, or being underestimated. And if this resonates with you, I want you to comment below if you've experienced any of these things, especially if you have a story about it. If you've ever been like hit on in a sales process, if you've ever been underestimated. I know that I've been underestimated so many times where they didn't think that I could do it, simply just because I was a girl in the room, simply because I was younger, simply because I looked like I wouldn't have an understanding of softwares or understanding of how, you know, a smart home automation system would work, simply because I didn't look like that. So no one would take what I said very seriously. Sucked. The fear of hearing no and taking rejection personally, emotional burnout from trying to do it all. Is this relating to anybody? You have to understand that success is not about who never struggles. Success is about who keeps going. You have to make a decision right now. You have to be willing to say to yourself, I will keep going no matter what. Regardless of how I feel, regardless of how I'm being mean to myself right now, regardless of any of that, I am going to keep going. Now, how would you know if you are a person that would keep going regardless of your circumstances? How would you know that? I'm going to show you. I recently just did a 5-day challenge, or sorry, it was a 4-day challenge called Closing Deals in Heels. This was a really, really powerful challenge that we did. And one thing that we talked about on there was the different types of saleswomen. Okay. Here are the different types of saleswomen we'll share with you so you can see it. These are the different types of saleswomen there are. The first one is the guesser. She really hopes and prays that she will figure it out. She's sometimes lazy. She sometimes is like, oh, you know, if it's meant to be, it'll happen for me. She just kind of guesses. She flies at the seat of her pants. She doesn't really take care of herself mentally and emotionally. She feels anxious all the time. She's talking down to herself all the time. She literally feels so sad all the time. She doesn't feel like herself anymore. And instead of taking responsibility, she blames. Oh, this is not my fault. This was the leads. This was this. Oh, bad things happened to me, blah, blah, blah. She typically loses her job and has poor performance. Then we have the wannabe. The wannabe, she sometimes works on herself, but she's not really serious. So she buys like a few books every year. Maybe she'll watch some free basic content on YouTube or IG. She really tries to figure it out through trial and error. It takes her years, okay? It takes her decades. Most women fall into this group. This is trial and error. This is, oh my gosh, you know, I watch stuff about mindset on a podcast, but I don't really do any work on myself. You know, I went to therapy 8 years ago. Don't really need to do anything. Like, I don't know, like maybe I'll try to do something a little bit here and there, but she holds herself back. And unfortunately, most women fall into this category. And then we have the snobs. The snobs think that they know it all, okay? They think that they have it all put together. They don't need to work on themselves. They did, you know, they're done with therapy. They don't need any more of it. They don't need to really work on their mindset anymore. Like, they're good. They did Landmark 5 years ago, okay? They make 6 figures or high 6 figures, and then they think that they're good. They don't think they need to learn anymore. They get in their own damn way. They hold themselves back. They're in their masculine energy all the time. They think that they know everything. They stop learning. They stop growing. They burn out. They cap themselves. And then you have the women that are committed to transformation. These women are unstoppable. These women are not perfect. They're willing to get messy. She consistently invests in herself. She consistently shows up for herself. She consistently is transforming her life. Not only just in her career, but everywhere in her life. She's working on her body. She's working on her relationship. She's working on her kids. She's working with her friends. She's working on herself. Like, she is playing full out in every single area of her life. She's authentic. She is real. She's okay to be vulnerable. She's working on herself. She's in the top 1% or the top 0.001% in the world. Okay? She's committed to transformation. And if I say this right now, which one do you feel like you possibly are? Are you the guesser, the wannabe, the snob? Or are you committed to transformation? Because the easiest thing I can say to myself in times of doubt, in times where I feel bad of myself, in times where I'm frustrated, the easiest thing I can ask myself is, what am I showing up as right now? Would a guesser think like this? Would a wannabe think like this? Would a snob think like this? Or would a woman that's committed to transformation think like this? And I get it, because sometimes we don't want to commit to transformation. Sometimes we don't want to be the best that we can be. Sometimes we have a lot of evidence as to why we shouldn't try harder. Maybe you have had mentors in your past that have completely devastated you and completely made you feel like they were on your team, but they really weren't. And you were let down. Maybe you have tried businesses and failed and you feel like, man, I just don't want to try again. I just don't want to try. Maybe you're afraid of your own success. Maybe you don't feel like you're really worthy of it. You have to ask yourself, what are you thinking about? What is the story that you're telling yourself right now? Because is it serving you or is it hurting you? Are you so sick and done with this story of why you can't? Because I promise you that you're probably the biggest person that gets in your way. And I get it. I've had a lot of trust issues with men my whole life. I have a lot of evidence that proves to me that men cannot be trustworthy. At the same time, sometimes I find myself in a place where I'm triggered, or find myself in a place where I'm like, oh, I don't want to trust right now. I want to control. I don't want to surrender. I want to know everything that's going on. And I have to ask myself in those moments, what would a woman that's committed to being a trusting woman do? Would she be acting like this? Would she freak out like this? Would she say this? No. And guess what? If I choose to act like the way a trusting woman would act, it's the hardest thing I could possibly do. Why? Because it challenges my ego. Because it challenges everything inside of me that's trying to keep me safe. But I promise you, on the other side of uncomfortability, and on the other side of change, is literally every single thing that you have ever wanted. Sales is not about you. And is selling something that you do to somebody, or is it something that you do for somebody? We have to start reframing the way our mind is thinking about stuff. What is reframing? Our brain. So in psychology, a frame is basically saying like somebody's viewpoint of the world. Somebody's biased. We all have perceptions on how the world works, yes? So if I have a belief system, that is my frame of the world. It's my thought process. And sometimes that's my thought process. And sometimes my thought process does not serve my end goal. If my goal is to be committed to transformation, if my goal is to make a certain amount every single month, I have to make sure I'm thinking like the woman that's going to do that. Because we have to understand that you will behave like the identity of who you believe you are. There was a study that I read in Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. And in this study, he was talking about people that were trying to quit smoking cigarettes. And they noticed in the study that they would do all this stuff to make people have like a sickening feeling when they think about smoking cigarettes. And what they were realizing over time is that even the people that quit smoking, if there was a tremendous bad or emotional event that happened in their life, a lot of them would pick back up the habit and start smoking again. I'm going to summarize this whole thing. However, when they started changing the identity of the individual, when the person did not believe that they were a smoker, oh, I'm not a smoker, they will behave in an identity like somebody that doesn't smoke. So if somebody offered them a cigarette, they'd be like, oh, I'm not a smoker. Sometimes we have to work on rewiring the way we think to change our identity so we behave like the person we want to be. If you want to be a person that makes 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month, 100 grand a month, more, you need to behave like the person that does that. How does she think? Does she let little petty things get in her way? No, probably not. Does she lead with love, or does she lead with fear? Does she look at lack, or does she look at her fortune? Some of us are so focused on the lack, and we're not focused on what's possible for us. We look at all the things that are wrong versus all the things that are right. It doesn't matter if we're doing good in one area, we're being mean to ourselves for another area. So we got to start reframing our brain. okay? And when this comes up, have some tools in our tool belt to kind of work through those things so we don't have issues anymore, yeah? So here's a really good way to reframe yourself. Asking yourself first this question: what would a woman that's committed to transformation do? Is this helping me or is this hurting me? Consequences are the best way for you to start getting your way out of thinking in a certain way. What if I keep thinking like this? What's going to happen to me? Let's say that you're having issues being trusting in your relationship because of all the past relationships that you've been in. And you're like, but you don't understand. I have a lot of evidence. I feel really anxious. I need to make sure everything's okay. And you're thinking in a way that's not serving you. If you keep thinking like that, what do you feel like it's going to do to your relationship? Is it worth it? If you keep thinking the way you're thinking about your sales job right now, oh my God, I can't do it. Oh my God, it's really hard. Oh my God, I'm exhausted. I feel like I'm on a hamster wheel going around and around and around, and I really can't figure this out. If you keep thinking like that, do you feel like you're going to be successful here? Probably not. Because you're getting in your own damn way. Your thoughts are more powerful than you think. You're getting in your own damn way. So we need a couple things here. Number one, physiology, moving your body. If there's a few things that you can do. If you notice your thoughts are going all over the place, the first thing I do is I try to move my body. There's a few things you can do. You could do the power stance. They had a study on this where doctors would do this before they would operate, and they would notice that their testosterone would increase in their body, like 5 or 10%, I can't remember. Just superhero pose. That, or moving your body. I love dance parties. Dun, 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 dun. Dance parties. Dancing for 2 minutes, jumping up and down will drain your lymphatic system and get you to where you can think out of whatever chaos is going in your mind. Going on a little run, going on a little walk. I love walking outside. If something is going on in my world and I'm emotional, get out of the space. Change your environment as quick as possible. And again, you're not going to want to do this. This is not what you're going to want to do. You have to be committed to transformation, committed to the new woman that you want to be. You cannot get in your own way right now. So getting up, moving your body. Number 2, a little 5-second reset, okay? Some deep breaths. Release 5 breaths. Connecting to yourself, eyes closed. Feeling your body. What am I focusing on? Can I focus on something that I'm grateful for? Gratitude cancels out fear and anger. It's scientifically proven. And then changing the words that I'm saying. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, what was the truth? The truth is that I'm so capable of anything I put my mind to. One of the really great things that you can do is word dump. So if you have a journal and there's a lot of negative things that are saying in your brain, write them all down. So that at least you can get out of your brain onto paper. Again, scratch it out, tear it up, write down what the truth is about you. The truth is that you're freaking powerful. You're a powerhouse. You're amazing. So if it's I hate selling, I hate figuring this out, be I love helping people make the right decision. I love supporting people to overcome the problems that they're having. Sales is really, really powerful. You just have to understand. Once you increase your skill level, you'll know how to do this so much easier. I overcame so much by writing down affirmations, incantations for myself of what I would speak. When I felt like I had no money, I would literally look at my bank account, there'd be no money in there. And I would be saying out loud, God's wealth is circulating in my life. His wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance. All my needs, goals, and desires are met instantaneously by infinite intelligence, for I'm one with God, and God is everything. That was Tony Robbins. Money comes to me easily, frequently, and abundantly in God's perfect way with no burden added to it. It does not own me, I own it. It comes to me pressed down, shaken together, running over. That's Billy Alsbrooks. There's different things that I said. And every single time that I felt lack, I'd be no, cancel, delete. The truth is that God's wealth is circulating in my life. And sometimes I would have to do that 5, 6, 7 times a day. But I was so committed. I was this cannot be my life anymore. You need to start having rituals for yourself to get ready throughout the day. I became so unshakable with who I am and the confidence in myself because I knew I overcome so much. I know I can trust myself. I know that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to get it done. And if I'm committed to figure something out, I will. Because I'm willing to do the uncomfortable stuff. Before every single sales call, I ground myself. I prime myself. This is a process I teach inside of Elite Saleswomen for our team, for our clients. I want people to get in a peak state before every single sales conversation. I want you to bless the person in front of you, ask God to use you. Get in a place where you're grounded, unattached from the outcome. Be in a place where you're practicing on yourself so that you're not shaky when you get on a call. If you experience rejection in sales, you need a post-rejection recovery plan, babe. You cannot spiral. If somebody's telling you no, you gotta tell yourself yes. My mind's telling me no, but my body is telling me yes. You gotta have fun with yourself, okay? You gotta have really fun with yourself in sales because sometimes it can feel like a lonely journey and you gotta play, you gotta have fun, which is what brings you to the next point, being in your feminine energy with emotional resilience. Women, you don't need to sell like men in order for you to be successful. That's not how it works. Don't gotta do that. There is a balance between your power and softness. It is such a lie that being in your feminine makes you weak. That's not true. Authenticity sells. You do not have to change who you are in order to be great in sales. You just have to learn the right skill set, which is why we created R.E.D, which stands for Real, Empowering, Disarming Questions. So you know exactly what to do in every single conversation. You know the science behind what to do and what to say. And you have to realize it's not just what you say. It's what you say, but more importantly, how you say it and the intention behind it. Are you doing this because you're trying to survive, or are you doing this because you're trying to help others? If you're thinking about yourself, you are not present in a sales conversation. I hope I'm doing this right. I hope I'm figuring this out. No. You can't think about yourself. You have to focus out and care about the person in front of you to see if you actually can help them. And the last one is your confidence in yourself. You got to work on you. There's impossible for you to be in a place where you're leading and influencing others if you cannot lead and influence yourself. You are out of integrity with you. Got to work on yourself. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the guesser, the wannabe, the snob, or you want to be committed to transformation? If you want to tap into your feminine energy so that you can be more intuitive, more connected, more deep in your conversations, you can listen better, you will be more effective than hard selling, outdated tactics that simply don't work. I want you to not burn out. So another part is taking care of you throughout the day. Once an hour, if you could just like put on your calendar a little beeper for once an hour, it goes off and you just have a moment with yourself to connect back in with you and then go back, you will have more energy throughout the day. I have a 30-minute break every single day where I go on a walk or just sit outside or just take care of myself, where I'll ground, I put my feet in the grass and I'll do nothing because I want to be my feminine so that I can be really, really powerful in my masculine. If you only get one thing out of this training, I just want you to get that you are so worthy of creating the success. If you only get one thing out of this training, I want you to really understand that you are so worthy of having all the success that you want in your life. And it's not hard. Success leaves clues. I did all of this when I had nothing. I did all of this when I had nothing. There was moments in my life where I literally sold a pair of weights at one point to pay for dinner for my daughter. The hardest part about being resilient in sales is that you have to face yourself and all the things that are not working in your life and be able to work on them and face them so that you can show up as the most powerful version of you. If you watch this video, I want you to take a screenshot of it, tag me on Instagram so that I know that it helped you. And if you want to join our community, inside the bio here, we have a free women's community where we do trainings every single week. So click in this below, as well as if you have questions on anything, again, please text my team. I love the women in our community. You deserve to have a sisterhood of other women around you that actually care about you, that are not catty, that are not judgmental, that don't make you feel seen. Like, you are so worthy of having real sisterhood around you. So make sure you join our community. If there's anything I could do to support you, I'm happy to do that. My team is happy to do that. Babe, you got to show up for yourself. The only person that's going to rescue you is you. I honor you. I see you. And Please comment below anything that helped you in this training. Bye guys, see you next week.